I often wonder, like, how much can faith stifle somebody's creativity? Because God gave you these gifts.
Yeah.
But then if you look at the structure of religion will make you think like you're not supposed to express those gifts. But what if I express those gifts for God?
1,000%. That's why PJ Morton was so instrumental in me as a comedian, because he had that exact problem. He wrote a book called Why Can't I Sing About Love? Because he's played the keyboard. His dad's a big bishop, Paul Morton Sr. So he's supposed to be a preacher. But he was like, I don't want to be, nor do I think that's my gift. I want to sing R&B. I want to sing about love. So he wrote a book. He sang about R&B. He got a lot of flack from the church, but he still went and did his thing. Ended up being in Room 5 and still did his thing. And he also wrote gospel. And when I was getting fired, he wrote this song called Let Go and Let God that Dwayne Wood sang. And I listened to it every single day because I'm like, I'm about to lose. I make jokes about it now, but in the real time, I was like, bruh, I don't know how to pay my mortgage. Like, our life was built off 2 incomes. So I realized that everybody's gift isn't necessarily used in the church building, but that doesn't mean it's not used for God.
That's right.
Right? Jasmine Sullivan was almost signed to a gospel label. I think that would have been a waste of her talents. I think she belongs in R&B, and the story she tells, Hotels album is one of my favorite albums.
Love it.
That album needs to be heard the way it is. I think it would have been, I don't want to say a waste, that might be too harsh. But I think she's doing what she should be doing with her gift. It's a better fit for her gifts. And I think God expresses himself in creativity in all disciplines. Scientists, chefs, painters, like, it doesn't all have to be in the church. Artists, like, there's so many different ways. I don't think you need to force it into the building of the church. You can still give back your gift to God by expressing it however it comes out. So I think that's what I do. And I think it's dope that I can go from the church to a comedy club.
All right. So this is, I would say that this conversation is why our show exists. We literally started the show to help people in his situation navigate, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I think some people, when they get to that point where they have influence, or they're about to have influence, or about to sign a deal, or about to do this, they could either get lost in it. We've seen people go get lost and they just absorb the world and they totally change who they are. And then there's some people we've seen who say, no, I'm sticking to my guns, and they disappear. And there's like a very slim percentage that make it through that and still successful, still holding on to their values. How do you do this? What do you think about what he said about using your creativity for God?
Well, I think you can. To me, I think it's different ways of what you talk about when you come to creativity. You have people that think your gifts is strictly for the church. You're supposed to edify and equip the church. Then you have some people that says my gifts is to reach out into the world and use my gifts so that people can come to the church. So, I mean, at the end of the day, his logic behind Jasmine Sullivan was kind of like a little shaky, because I'm like, if God is calling her to sing gospel music, then she needs to sing gospel. But if she isn't, if she was trying to use that to get on, then he's right, in my opinion. Like, if you know how some people use certain stepping stones, we have people in Christian rap that use that as a stepping stone to just try to get on and dip. But in my mind, I'm like, if that's what God is leading her to do, and she's being disobedient, then I think that's something totally different.
Here's my question. This is the big question.
Got you.
Why can't you make that album and it just be soaked with gospel? Like, why does it have to sound like gospel to be a Christian album? Why can't it sound good, or however you want it to sound, but the whole theme of it, the whole meaning behind your lyrics, the whole drive, the whole force, the whole meaning for your existence is godly? We still just talk about
that's my problem, bro. That's my problem with it. I just get tired of hearing people saying, well, I can reach more people if I don't put Christian on it, or if I don't put Jesus on it. I'm like, man, who are you trusting to push your product? Are you trusting the man or the record label, whoever, to push your stuff out here more? They can do more for you than representing God. God can't put your stuff in places that a man can't put it in. Like, I don't know. I just think people have a secular dream a lot of the time, and they just try to use Christianity as the footstool to get to their little secular dream. And they use, and especially like for Christian rap, it's so many regular rappers. You can come to Christian rap and put a song out today, and it'll be on playlists and stuff. Like, it's easier to make it in this space, so people will use that as a stepping stone to want to live their little secular dream. But I'm like, bro, like, what is this whole thing about proclaiming the name of Jesus holding me back? Like, do people read the Bible? Like, you deny me in front of people, I'm gonna deny you in front of my Father. Like, that's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I feel like I can't say that I really worship Jesus, if I can't say that I'm a Christian to go to a certain place, do I need to go there?
But James, what if God is putting on your heart? Like, I use PJ Morton as an example. If God is putting on his heart to write love songs between in relationship that is not degrading women, that's not outside, is basically the song of why do they call it the Song of Songs now instead of Song of Solomon? What if it's like that, where it's about love? Is that wrong?
Why do you got to come out and separate yourself from the church to do that?
Well, because using PJ Morton again, he got backlash because his father is a big time Bishop Morton.
So he said he's supposed to be a pastor. He's not supposed to be a pastor just because his dad's a pastor. He's supposed to be a pastor if God called him to that position. No one in Scripture do it say your daddy was a pastor, you're going to be a pastor. You know what I'm saying? Like,
nepotism, Lord.
You got to be called to that position. So first and foremost, he wasn't supposed to be one just because his dad.
Yeah, he wasn't. But I think for him it's like I know he probably, I can't speak for PJ, but I think the reason why he wrote the book was like to free people to think that just because I'm raised in church doesn't mean that I have to. If God is calling me to do something that doesn't look like your traditional gospel artist, then I shouldn't get backlash for it. Because I've heard he had some dope records. I mean, not all of it, but some of his records that he had with the ones that he was kind of talking about, I can remember it just coming to mind that were like good, like you would just play like a family barbecue. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
my issue when people feel like they got to separate from Christianity. We follow in Christ, right?
Yeah.
When Christ came on the scene and he was going against the order of the day, everything he said was totally contrary in their mind to what he was doing. Well, did he change what he was doing or how he was doing it because a few people felt a certain kind of way about it because he knew he was following the will of the Father? If I know I'm following the will of the Father, I'm not going to worry about the backlash. I'm not going to worry about the criticism because I know I'm following God. You could be a pastor in the pulpit following God. Folks gonna criticize your preaching.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You could be doing anything for God. People, like the Bible even say, be careful. If everybody agree with you, be careful. You know what I'm saying? Everybody shouldn't agree with you.
Yeah, I get that.
So it's like, I don't know. I just don't get it.
Okay, so if God is telling plain James, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't go on that Christian tour. I'm gonna open the door for you to go on the Trappist Life tour. You're gonna be the opening act for Jeezy, Tip, and all of them. I'm gonna give you that opportunity. And this is what I'm gonna do. When you go on stage, your songs are gonna be so powerful that it's gonna shift the atmosphere in that thing to the point that people don't even want to hear Jeezy or T.I. But you're so worried about, man, what these folks gonna think about what
I'm not gonna work because this is the thing about it. If you're coming to me like the way I operate, when you coming to me, you gonna know, okay, James is a Christian rapper. Like, so it ain't no confusion. So what I'm doing is I'm coming asking a Christian rapper to open up my show. I know what his songs are about. I don't have no songs that are just like iffy. Like it gonna be, I'm saying,
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But that's why God has given you that opportunity to do that.
But that's my point.
Because he wants you in that place. Because somebody who's going there is like a dope boy that's going back and forth. Like, should I become a Christian? Should I stay in the street?
Do you know what I want to tell you, people? Like, this is the thing. I probably done been in most hoods in this country, being honest with you, doing Christian rap music.
Yeah.
And you know what I hear? They say, man, even if they don't believe what I believe, they say, you know what, I respect you because you stand on what you believe. What we don't respect is somebody who come in here who we know they own that, but they try to act like they're one of us. They don't respect that. Like, they don't, like, people in the streets respect real. Like, they don't, all that Trojan, I'm gonna come in with the Trojan horse, act like we not doing this. Like, nah, like, what do you stand on?
Yeah.
So when these Hebrew Israelites at the barber store and they calling me a lost so-and-so, this and that, they standing on that in broad daylight in the street. They're not trying to hide who they are. Folks who in sin, they trying to
but you're not hiding it. That's what I'm saying. The opportunity I'm talking about is they know, tipping them know this dude is legit.
Okay, y'all talking about different one than what Kevin's talking about. The PJ Morton example is, I want to make love songs. Everybody else is telling you got to make gospel, hymn, choir songs. Then what's your answer?
My thing is, you can make love songs so when you make those love songs, are the songs you make, are they going to be completely unbiblical?
That's what I'm trying to say. You should, if you're saying you're making a song for your wife.
Yeah.
I made a song for my wife.
Yeah.
If you listen to the lyrics, it's still godly stuff. You can do that. And I think that's what PJ Morton was trying to say. Why are y'all getting on me for wanting to do that? I'm doing. I don't know. I'm guessing.
He should be able to do that.
Are the songs still biblical? The PJ Morton songs?
The songs
are they pretending to be Chris Brown songs? You know?
No, well, I think he ended up signing with Young Money at one time, but prior to that,
is Maroon 5 making biblical? I don't know. Are they making Christian songs? No. So let's go back to my point. Folks out here want to live a secular dream. Yeah. Bro, grew up in church his whole life, probably got tired of going to church. I want to use my gift to go out here and do something else. And he did that. Like,
wait. Hold on, real quick. Why we sound goofy? We got to understand that. People in our comments be saying stuff. Y'all got to, instead of just saying stuff.
No, say it. Because I think this is a real thing that people have to wrestle through.
Yeah.
If I'm a Christian and I'm an artist.
Yeah.
And I have a song I wrote for my wife called Alfie. If somebody came to me and said, you shouldn't be writing a love song for your wife, you should be writing hardcore Christian rap, Jesus bars every single song. That. Well, that's what I'm saying. So if my reaction to that is, why do I have to do that? I wanted to make a love song for my wife that's God honoring, all that kind of stuff. My reaction to that is, y'all could kick rocks. I'm making a song. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what I'm not going to do is make a song that sounds like T.I., Jay-Z, such and such, where you can't tell the difference between me and Jay-Z.
That's like lustful. Yeah.
That to me is where you're going past what God called you to do so you could fit into a world and get accolades from that world.
I'm saying God could have called him to make that kind of, and nothing wrong with that. My problem is, why do folks, if it's not sin involved, if it's not going against nothing biblical, why do I feel like I got to separate from the church to do that?
Yeah.
Why do I got to join Maroon 5 to do that? Why can I can be a Christian artist and rap about love. I can rap about the streets. I can rap around whatever.
His solo is different than Maroon 5.
I'm just saying.
He's part of the band in Maroon 5.
I don't know much about him, but I think the underlying thing reminds me of two scriptures. So the first one, Galatians 1:10, for am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. So if God is leading you to do a thing, it doesn't matter if people don't agree with you. And I think there is a place for us to have romantic music that's not full of lust and demons and everything else that they doing. I think that that's fine. And if God gave you the green light, baby, do that. Like, why are you worried about all the hair fire coming against you? Because even in Luke 7, and like Jesus has a spiel that's from 31 all the way to 35, and it ends with, but the wisdom is justified of all our children. Like, you can't please people. Y'all mad because Jesus drank. Wait, no, yeah, that's a part of that spiel or whatever. Where he said John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and you said he's a devil. The Son of Man come eating and drinking, and you said, behold, he's a gluttonous man and a winebibber, and a friend of publicans and sinners. You cannot please everybody.
Right.
But here's where it does matter, because I think everybody thinks they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? Kev thinks he's doing the right thing. PJ Morton thinks he's doing the right thing. Kanye West thinks he's doing the right thing. But all of them are not. You know what I'm saying? So, if everybody just says, I'm going to do whatever I feel is right, where's the
Scripture got to be the final authority.
Right.
Whether you're an entertainer, whether you got a podcast, you're a comedian, you're a trash man, whatever you are, Scripture got to be the final authority. I think people want to make excuses to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the reason I'm asking is, if all those people think they're doing what you're saying, I'm reading the scripture, it says it's cool, I'm doing what, I'm not going to let nobody stop me. Where's the ability for somebody with wisdom to come and say, I know you think this is okay. It's not. See, that's where it breaks. That's where that breaks, where it's not just whatever you want to do. I feel like I should make a love song, so I'm going to just do whatever I want. No, there should be people that have authority in your life, wisdom, that could tell you read that wrong. Like, you're wrong about that.
And what happens is, somebody like PJ Morton, right? He'll go out here, he'll make that love album. And let's say somebody come to the faith. Just because you out there say you just want to be associated with, I ain't saying he said, but say if he said he didn't want to be associated with this, he's making these songs, somebody come to the faith, you could be out of position and still operate in your calling. Think about Peter. When Jesus died, Peter was supposed to be a leader. Peter was going back to the boat to go fishing. What the other dudes do? They followed Peter back to the boat. Even in the fact that he was giving up, they still fought. He was still a leader even when he was giving up. Just because you're not in position on me, you still not going to operate in your calling. Like, the gifts of God come without repentance. So you still going to have that gift regardless. So you can be over here living your little secular dream, and folks could be coming to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like
Off
you
your
could come
music.
off your music and stuff, but that don't mean you still in the right position.
So
though.
this is my only
That could
point.
be the grace of God just operating in spite of you.
This is my only point to Kev. Because I remember asking him this. Even though you feel like it may be okay what you're doing, and you may have the heart to say, I'm doing what I'm doing for God. You can see I'm still doing this. I'm still doing that. There should be people that you trust around you that don't just love everything you do, that can say, but what about this? You know what I'm saying? Like if everything you think is okay, if when you read the Bible, you just get some sort of message and you just run with it and nobody's able to say, wait, what now? What did you read? If nobody could hold you accountable, I think then there's a problem.
Yeah.
There should be somebody that could say, yeah, but.
Somebody that can see through everything you're saying and saying you're hurt. You're being rebellious right now. And that can see through your heart, that knows your character. So accountability partners are definitely super important. And that's who you should be listening to, not the people in your comments that are fussing at you. Yeah. But the part that had made me clutch my pearls from what he was saying was like, he feel like if she made a gospel album, that would be a waste of her talent. I just was so shocked.
He took it back a little bit. He took half of it back.
Like, I'm glad he did. But that just brings me to a question of what is the purpose of human beings? Like, what's our purpose?
Yeah.
To glorify God.
Yeah.
And God brought, that's our purpose, is to glorify God. And he gave us gifts that we use to glorify him. So it is not a waste when she is supposed to be using a gift that God gave her to glorify him.
But to me, it is a waste if her heart is not it.
It's to me, it's more of a waste for her to be successful with her album and not be soaked with the reason I'm making this is to glorify God. If the reason becomes I'm making this to be successful and you actually get what you wanted, to me that's a waste.
No, but I think God looks at our heart. So if I'm making a gospel album, but I really don't live it, if I really don't, I'm singing something just for the money.
Of course.
Then to me that's a waste.
But the bigger waste to me is you going, if your original intention was to glorify God, if you go around that and become everything you want it to be, you get the great album. It's a dope album. Everybody loves it. Top of the charts. But it isn't driven and motivated. Every single word on that album is not driven and motivated towards bringing God glory. That's the bigger waste.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Missing the mark.
That's the bigger waste. And that's the only reason I'm saying I love the wrestle here. I think there are people who are genuinely that love God, that want to bring him glory, that want to have influence, that are wrestling with this question. Yeah. I love to wrestle. Yeah. But let's wrestle together and figure it out together. I think there's some people who get frustrated with the wrestle and then they just say, forget y'all, I'm just doing whatever I want to do. And they have no more accountability. Yeah. Right. Whatever they do is God told me, and nobody could say anything else to them. That to me is a dangerous place to be when you do have that much influence.
I want to say this. I know people in the comments, somebody in the comments said that we don't know what we're talking about because we haven't heard his album, PJ Morton's album. I just want you to know that, I mean, I've heard it before. I heard something like his earlier projects when he was more indie and stuff like that. We're not against anybody that's saying that they feel like God is leading them to do something different out of the norm of Christian. Because everybody in here are talented people, and I'm sure if somebody did something out of the Christian box, if God is calling you to do that, then God is calling you to do that. Yeah. I think what we're saying is, like, if he's calling you to do more Christian-based things, but you don't want to do that, then you're in disobedience. Right. Then you're going against what God is calling you, what he's really calling you to do.
And I'm just saying you can do whatever if it's biblical. Like, I ain't saying you got to just like I said, you ain't got to verbatim quote scripture every song. Like, you can be creative. You can talk about marriage. You can talk about life. Talk about fatherhood. Talk about.
Right.
I think my issue is just when people feel like, well, I'm not going to be a Christian artist because I want to do this and do that. Like, you can still be a Christian artist and do those things. Like, I feel like people feel like you got to separate.
Don't call it out.
Yeah.
Like, why are you wasting your time saying
like, do it. Like, I don't believe it. Like, we don't have normal lives. Like, we can't relate to love and stuff. Like,
it's a common human experience.